Hey everyone, today I'm going to be doing a video that I've had sitting on the back burner for a while now, and I'm finally getting around to it. I'm counting down my top 10 war horror movies. And this is a kind of a niche subgenre, but there are some bangers in here. Starting off, number 10 is War of the Dead. We're starting off in mediocrity. This one is fine. However, the reason I am here to defend it as one of the best of this niche subgenre is that I've seen it get reviews calling it the worst zombie movie ever made, the worst horror movie ever made. It's not. It's fine. It's not great. It's not a masterpiece. It's not the most memorable movie, the most original movie, but it's fine. The acting is mostly pretty good. There's not much in the way of, iconic moments. For whatever reason, I have a distinct... I haven't actually seen this particular movie in a while. But, so a group of Americans encounter Nazi zombies, is basically what happens. And they find a Russian man who is taken prisoner, so they free him. And at first, they don't fully trust him. But then eventually, things start to hit the fan. And he just goes, "May I take a gun too?" I don't know why. For some reason, I remember that. But yeah, this movie, unfortunately, it has a cool premise, but the execution is kind of generic, but it's still pretty good. The action is fairly well shot. I wish more of it had been out in the light. A lot of it is kind of dark, but you can still see most of what's going on. The editing is not doing it any favors, but it could be worse. And the music is alright. I don't really remember much of it, but I remember thinking it was alright.
I think we're pretty close now. Soviet bunker should be no more than 1 or 2 kilometers from here. What's so special about this bunker?
His story, they make tests there.
We attacked before dawn.
Open fire! Go take a look.
Something's not right. What happened, sweetheart?
They came. They destroyed everything.
The score is 2.5 out of 5. Number 9 is Ghosts of War. This is a competently made flick with a surprisingly stacked cast that includes live-action Nightwing and book-accurate Jack Reacher, among others. The war elements are all well done. They're genuinely convincing. The story is pretty compelling. The problem arises when we get to the horror side of things. The horror side of things is just too cookie cutter, and it uses too many jump scares, most of which are ineffective.
Hear that? What is that? What? I don't believe in witches, but if an old hag flies around on a broomstick...
Please tell me we're having this conversation right now.
I thought I was going batshit.
Yeah, me too. Now I know why the last bunch was so desperate to amscray. I mean, this place is
Haunted. Unless someone's got a better word for it.
Look, before the Nazis come, we should 23 skidoo.
There are some surprises to keep you on your toes. There's the big reveal, shall we say. I don't know if I would call it a twist, but it's a reveal. And it's a good reveal. But at the end of the day, this movie just kind of feels like less than the sum of its parts. Score is 2.5 out of 5. Number 8 is The Devil's Rock. This is a fun little low-budget horror flick. Has a very minimal cast. On Letterboxd, there are exactly 8 cast members listed, and I'm pretty sure no more than 6 of them get multiple lines. And eventually it just boils down to 3, once things start to get weird. Basically, this is a couple of Allied soldiers who sneak into a small German outpost and discover that the soldiers there have a demon chained up. It's kind of more psychological for the most part, and it kind of works. It's not great, but the cast all turn in good enough performances that it works reasonably well.
Whose purpose was the invocation of demonic forces? Allow me to prove it. I will show you the true nature of this horror. I need your knife. Come, demon bitch. You can cease pretending. I know you need your meat.
There's a little bit of humor here and there, and the humor's pretty good. There's not much action, but the action we get is perfectly fine. Can't really comment on the music because I have no memory of it. But it's nice and short, so if nothing else, it won't take up too much of your time. My score is 3 out of 5. Number 7 is Death Watch. This movie feels like it could be an extended episode of The Twilight Zone. It's got a thought-provoking premise that it doesn't quite live up to, and the early 2000s CGI looks fake as shit, but otherwise it's pretty well made. For all this movie's problems, it does a good job of blending war and horror. The score is legitimately good, and it successfully helps build the tension in certain scenes. Not all of the acting is good, but most of the actors turn in at least decent performances. Jamie Bell is really good as Charlie, our protagonist. He's really good at portraying that loss of innocence. Andy Serkis kind of fills in the movie Jack Torrance role here, where he starts off a little unhinged, and then it just gets worse.
You want to kill me? Well, come on, then! Come on, Abe! I'm waiting!
Apologize if I butchered his name. Torben Lebrecht is very good as the German prisoner Friedrich. Hugo Spear plays Sergeant Tate, and who is like desperately trying to stay sane and actually kind of succeeding. And he's really good in that role. And then we have Lawrence Fox, who does a really good job of showing a different type of insanity in Captain Jennings, by which I mean dissociation. Or I guess you could just call it full-on denial. I don't know. I know there's a word for it.
Doesn't do to let standards slip, Corporal. You have a responsibility to these young men.
Yes, sir.
What is that god-awful racket?
That's Private Quinn, sir.
And why is he not here for inspection? Sergeant! Why is Private Quinn not here for inspection? Right. Well done, men. You fall out. I'm gonna go and have a word with Private Quinn.
Please don't do that, sir. He'll kill you, sir.
I'm an officer.
There are some little details that I like. I believe it's established that this takes place late in the war, like 1918. And at one point they use an MP-18, which is the world's first submachine gun, which was available towards the end of the war. So that was a nice little detail. It comes to us from MJ Bassett, and the only other movie I've seen from her is Silent Hill Revelation, which is ass. And from what I can tell, her other movies are not that well regarded, including this one. But this one I actually liked. So, well done, MJ. The score is 3 out of 5. Number 6 is Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter. I approached this film with a bit of caution, because I think the director has a great visual style, but I also think he doesn't really know how to tell a story. This is sadly still the case, but he has improved. About 15 minutes into this movie, I encountered one of my biggest pet peeves concerning vampire movies. Them strutting around in broad daylight. I came to the realization that this film is creating its own mythology, and in fact, that is the main theme of the film. If I'm ready to accept that Lincoln was a vampire hunter in this universe, why should I complain about the fact that these vampires are different? Visual effects. There are some bits where the CGI is lackluster, to say the least. But for the most part, the visuals are absolutely stunning. There are a couple of short shots that serve no other purpose than providing the audience with some stunning-ass eye candy, and I did not mind. Some of the action sequences are unbelievably over the top, and they look amazing. Overall, they work really well, and they're exciting to watch.
Catch me if you can, boy!
It's also a gun.
The thing is, a roller coaster is also supposed to be fun, and there's just not enough fun in this movie. It's all a bit heavy-handed, which works sometimes, but there is hardly any relief from the gravitas that it radiates, I guess you could say. And that's a damn shame, because there is room in here for something a bit lighter. But at the end of the day, this is still a good movie. The acting ranges from decent to great. The cast are clearly putting in the work. The script is mostly solid. There's some weak dialogue here and there, but for the most part, it's fine. My score is 3 out of 5. Number 5 is Valley of the Dead. This movie does a good job of combining the tropes of the war and horror genres without using either as a crutch. This is a Spanish language film about a zombie outbreak and the soldiers having to deal with it, and it plays that out pretty well. It doesn't do much in the way of treading new ground, but it has a talented cast playing entertaining and mostly likable characters. The action is legitimately good. The music is pretty solid. It's well shot, it's well edited.
Lo que está pasando aquí no es terrenal. Yo no sé mucho de las cosas, pero las cosas que sé sí sé mucho.
Gira a la derecha, soldado. Vamos a atajar por el valle.
¿Está usted seguro, mi capitán? Eso es zona de nadie.
Tranquilo, chaval. Te prometo que no nos va a pasar nada.
¿Y ahora qué? Mira tú por dónde. Que veníamos a cazar una pava y nos hemos topado con todo un capitán facha.
Joder, quita, coño.
It also does a good job with the dwindling party aspect of things. That was pretty well done. My score is 3 out of 5. Number 4 is Frankensteins Army. I remember sitting at my parents' computer in 2013 watching this movie when I don't even remember what website it was. Some third-party website, let's just say. And sitting there watching this and having a blast. This movie overloads on gore a little bit, but overall it's just a tense, well-made film. It smoothly blends horror and war together. The found footage style, okay, the camera they're using is anachronistic. I'm pretty sure the camera is from like the 60s, but I only know that because I looked this movie up on TV Tropes. Otherwise, had I not done that, I would still think it was legit, so well done. Not all the acting is great, and for some reason, this is weird. These are Russian actors speaking English, and some of their Russian accents sound fake. I don't understand how that's possible, but there it is. But aside from that, their performances are actually pretty good. They do a really good job of building and maintaining suspense. And then we eventually get to the main thing I love about this movie, the Zombots, which are a clever wartime take on Frankenstein's monster. And the fact that this is basically just has a B-movie budget also means that the monsters are 100% practical and they look awesome.
Careful! What is it?
This movie's definitely not for everyone, but if you can stomach a little gore, I highly recommend it. Score is 3.5 out of 5. Number 3 is Shadow in the Cloud. My only major complaint with this movie is the obvious green screen or rear projection or whatever when Chloe Grace Moretz is climbing around on the underside of the plane. And honestly, even that works in the movie's favor. See, this is what you get when you apply a B-movie mentality to a modern action movie, and I mean every aspect of it. The action ranges from believable to ludicrous, and yet it never feels out of place. The writing is cheesy, but intentionally so, and it's good. The gremlin design is solid, and the effects are good enough that I couldn't tell when it was practical, CGI, or a bit of both.
Focus on the zeros!
Yes, ma'am!
Hold on, sweetie.
Chloe Grace Moretz gives one of her better performances, and after all the shit she goes through, watching her in the climax is immensely satisfying. What I love about this movie is that it's all from her perspective. I don't mean it's from her point of view. This is not a first-person point of view movie. No, but the camera stays on her the whole time. We only ever see what is around her. Everything else happens off-screen. So, like, at one point when they're in the B-17, she's down in the ball turret for a little bit, and we never see outside of the ball turret unless it's something that she can see. It's a very different approach to this type of movie, and I think it works out wonderfully. My score is 3.5 out of 5. Number 2 is Under the Shadow. It's always interesting to see how filmmakers from different countries approach horror. This movie forgoes endless jump scares in favor of building genuine tension. There are still a few jump scares here and there, but they're properly built up and earned. Out of all these movies, this one is probably the loosest fitting of war horror, because it's not really a war movie, but it takes place during a war. We're just seeing it from the civilian side of things, and so that is why I'm including it. Basically, this takes place during the Iran-Iraq war, and it follows a woman and her daughter after their apartment building is hit by a missile. And the mother becomes convinced that there is a supernatural force, I believe a jinn, at work trying to manipulate her daughter in some way. And it plays out more or less how you would expect, with a few twists and turns to keep you on your toes. And honestly, it succeeds. This is a great fucking movie. The acting is great, the script is tight, the music is not the best, but it's solid. It's well shot, it's well edited, and there's even some commentary on the state of things in the country then and even now. Like the fact that when something attacks them and they run out into the streets for safety, they're arrested because they're not wearing the proper head, whatever the hell those are called that they wear, the women have to wear. Like they get arrested for that. Or she gets arrested for that, rather. Her daughter doesn't. My score is 4 out of 5. Finally, my number 1 is Overlord. This movie has a couple of bad lines and a couple of stupid character decisions, but otherwise, it's just a great fucking movie. Those are just the small complaints. The cast is mostly unknown, at least at the time, and they all turn in solid performances. Cinematography is gorgeous, the script is pretty great. It follows the same basic setup as a lot of other war horror movies, which is soldiers sent on a routine mission encounter something supernatural, but here it's done so damn well that I honestly didn't care. One thing I appreciate is that the horror doesn't just come from the scary monsters. There's also horror in just some of the things that happen in war, be it horrifying injuries or certain soldiers' tendencies to take advantage of civilians, and just other stuff like that. Yeah, apparently this was originally supposed to be part of the Cloverfield universe, but they decided to make it standalone, and honestly, I think it would have worked great as part of Cloverfield, but also it just works great as its own thing. It's just a great fucking movie. Score is 4.5 out of 5. Hey everyone. What are your favorites? Let me know down in the comments. Like and subscribe and all that. If you don't like the video, tell me why. Try to be constructive. Then subscribe anyway. You'll be notified when I upload a new video, hopefully. And then watch that one and tell me why that one sucks. And again, please be as detailed as possible. That's all for now. Stay safe in these crazy times.